Welcome back to Game Smash. As always, I'm your host, William Liberty, and with me is.
Was Muhammad Yusuf.
And let's start with what we've been playing recently. Once again, continued to play a little more.
Persona.
Yeah, no, not Persona. Okay, a little bit of Persona, but I played some more Guild Wars 2. It was really fun revisiting game, but the longer I've been playing it, I'm starting to remember some things that made me realize, okay, this is why I stopped. Like like one of the things about the game that I'm not the hugest fan with is that I understand why they do it, but there's a main quest line in the story, right? In the game, right? And the main
Yeah.
quest line has like the bulk of the story. It has like the most voice acting in it in that part of the game, and honestly, it's the most interesting part. The only problem is that what they do is that they split these sections by level caps. So you can't continue the main story until you get to level 10. You can't continue the main story to level 20 until you get to level 20. And what that does is that
Okay.
it gives you a reason to want to explore the world and do other things. But it's kind of
Okay.
like I just want to do the main story because I feel like those are the best missions and the best quests are all part of the main story. But I don't know. It's still kind of fun, and I might make another class or two. But yeah, but that's basically what I've been playing this week. So what about you, Fawaz? What have you been up to?
Guilty Gear, like
Yeah,
I've really started getting a lot better at the game, so I've started putting a lot more time into it. I went to my friend's place again to play some games. Some funny thing actually happened. I was watching a New York stream where there was a
yeah,
bunch of like top Guilty Gear players playing top players playing Guilty Gear,
yeah,
and one of my friends just pops like it's like, okay, this Potemkin versus this Slayer, and then I look at the Slayer's name
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, that dude is on my friends list.
That's
So
awesome.
I sent him a message about that on Sunday. We had a good laugh about it. He was like that, yeah, the New York guys have really been, trying to bring him up and stuff. He was like that, I should let him know if I'm interested. He'll get me into one of their lobbies, and then we played a couple sets. I'm getting a lot better. I'm getting a lot better.
Yeah,
I'm still messing a bunch of stuff up, but that's cool. The other game I'm still playing is Ninja Gaiden Sigma.
nice.
Like the game is just a really good game for the Vita, because if I'm taking a short bus ride or something like that, I can just get on the. They have these things called ninja trials, which are just very specific. It's locked up specific chapters of the game where you have to do specific things like
Yeah,
kill a certain number of enemies, or it's mostly just kill a certain number of enemies. But the game has such a wide variety of enemies that it feels different. And then in some situations, like one mission that I'm doing, it's a boss battle, but a bunch of enemies keep spawning. And there's one where enemies die in one hit, but you also die in one hit. And
yeah,
one thing
yeah,
the game
yeah.
it just reminded me of was how difficult that game was. Oh my god. There's one boss called Alma. I don't know if you
Yeah,
ever played Ninja Gaiden.
I think I've seen that one. Yeah, that
Yeah,
particular.
some big purple chick, and she just does not give a damn. Like, oh my god, she is. It feels like fighting. It feels like I'm in it. Like I'm in an actual battle, because it's not. You know how, like, a lot of bosses, even in Ninja Game, a lot of bosses have patterns.
Yeah, you
You
can.
dodge them for a long period of time, and then they have that one period where they're vulnerable, and then you run in and do it, wham, wham, wham. But with
Yeah,
Alma, I mean, she has that sometimes, but in general, you just have to like like
it's a
dodge her
very
attack
chaotic.
and
It's a very
counter
chaotic fight.
what?
It's a very chaotic fight. Right.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. You gotta like dodge her attack at the very last minute and then counter attack as fast as it's a tough fight. And
Yeah.
it made me it really made me miss action games, man. Because I haven't played a good action game since Bayonetta, and that was in like what 2000. Man, I don't remember
Well,
that.
the Bayonetta 2 came out, so
Yeah,
there you
but
go.
I'd have to own a Wii U to play that.
Well, you missed me, Jilly, and me, because I have the Wii U.
Well, you
Mwahaha.
can kiss my ass.
But yeah, I know what you mean by just having like games that are those quick kind of games you can play on the bus and whatnot, and especially since because I like I said I've been playing Persona Q. Whenever I boot up that game on my 3DS, I'm just like I have to make sure I have a lot of time to play this because I
Yeah.
usually it's gonna be like a 3 hour session or it's gonna be
Yeah.
like or something like that at the very least.
Yeah.
But anyway, so moving on from that, let's go into some news. So there are some possible rumors of a Hearthstone adventure launching this April. So since you're the designated Hearthstone extraordinaire for Waz, I will let you take it away.
Okay, well, first of all, I just wanted to apologize for last episode because it turns out that we went through an entire episode without me mentioning Hearthstone
I know
once.
all our fans are disappointed in you. They all are.
Yeah, so I'm going to make up for that by actually talking about an entire article about Hearthstone. So there's a report that the next Hearthstone expansion, like Tanner mentioned, is going to launch in April. So here's my thoughts on this, because the IGN article talks about an expansion,
Mhm.
but it sounds more like an adventure. And just for the people that don't know, Hearthstone launched this thing in July called the Curse of Naxxramas.
Yes.
It was about 12 boss battles that were very, they were all unique and they didn't play by the game's rules. Their hero powers were really overpowered.
Yeah.
They were just really overpowered bosses.
They were kind of like they were kind of like bosses, but they were kind of like puzzles because you kind of had to build your deck differently than you normally would.
Yes, and so they had that thing, and whenever you beat a boss, you got a card, and then they had 9 class specific challenges where you used one class to win a battle, and you got a card for that class as well. So that was the adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the rumor? The rumor is stating that there's going to be an expansion that will focus on player versus environment gameplay, and the developers have been tinkering with 2v2 mode. So the way the impression I get from this is that it's not actually an expansion like Goblins versus Gnomes, and it's going to be an adventure like Curse of Naxxramas. They'll probably introduce, like, if this is true, and April sounds very likely because Curse of Naxxramas was in July, Goblins versus Gnomes was in December.
Yeah.
So April seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Especially since it's only going to be like 20 or 30 cards, so it probably won't.
Yeah.
It won't take them that long. But yeah, it sounds interesting. It sounds very interesting.
It's an interesting. Sorry, I'll let you keep going.
Okay, my problem with Naxxramas were twofold. One was that once you beat it once, there was really no reason to beat it again.
Yes, yeah.
You could play through them on hard, but you didn't really get anything. I mean, if you beat all 12 of them on hard, you got a very specific card back. But I don't care enough to go through that shit for one card back. And then on top of that, my biggest problem with Naxxramas was the challenges, the class challenges. I was hoping for something more like what the Duels of the Planeswalker games have, where they give you a very specific set of circumstances, a very specific hand, and they require you to win the game in one turn.
Yeah.
So you have to sit there and you have to figure out the puzzle. You have to figure out the best way to kill your opponent in that one turn. That was what I was hoping for. What they gave us was just boring ass.
Well, they would give you the challenge, but here's the thing: like even like when I was doing it, I found myself just like, all right, I got a really shitty hand. I'm gonna start over. Or I will start, and then there'll be a point where it's like, well, there's no way I can win this. I'm gonna start over, and I would just basically brute force it until I finally got a winning hand, and then I would finally, continue on and get lucky. And I felt that was kind of the problem, is that I felt like I wasn't really solving a puzzle. I was more just brute forcing it, just so I could get the card. And that was that was my biggest problem with Narox. Yeah, the adventure in general.
Naxxramas.
Yeah. You saw how I had a little difficulty pronouncing that. I was like, I'm just gonna call it adventure. Yeah, adventure 1.
You recovered off that real quick, so props for that.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you 100%. I hope they introduce something. I do gotta give them props. There was one challenge that was really interesting, and it was the hunter challenge, because all you got was this one hunter card. It was a 1/1 beast with a death rattle, where when it died, it gave you a random beast in your hand. And it was fun. I can't lie, because you literally only got those 1/1s, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's so all you
play
drew.
them, and then you trade them into your opponent's creature, get a random beast, and then try to figure out what you can do with that. Especially since beasts synergize with each other. But in general, I hope they go more with the challenge routes.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. I still haven't completed the Paladins one because I just don't care. I just do not care.
Yeah. So yeah, and I hope that they do improve it a little bit, and I hope they do kind of keep the kind of tone, like at least a similar tone, because I really like the tone in the first adventure that it was a little bit kind of goofy overall. From time to I like that, and I like
Yeah.
that Pharaoh dude or whatever the hell his name was, just kind of berating you the entire time. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I think that was Kel'Thuzad. But
yeah,
yeah,
Kel'Thuzad, yeah.
no, I do. That's one thing I gotta give these dudes credit for. They have the writers, they have a very good sense of humor.
Yeah,
You can check the quote unquote back of every card, and there is text there, and it's a joke,
yeah,
like there was for this card counterspell, they were
yeah.
like, what's the difference between a mage that's running counterspell and a mage that isn't running counterspell? The mage that isn't running counterspell is eating a pyroblast to the
To the
face.
face, yeah. So
They're just really funny stuff on on a lot of cards. So that's cool. But anyway, that's enough of Hearthstone for one
yeah,
day.
that's the gist for Hearthstone. All right, so I'm gonna pass this off to you because some new PlayStation Plus games were revealed,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm gonna let
Okay,
you
okay.
reveal them because I'm interested. I'm interested.
Okay. So I'm gonna take it from the bottom.
Okay.
So for the PlayStation Vita, these two games were revealed that I honestly don't, I've never even heard of.
Okay.
Rogue Legacy,
Yeah, I heard of Rogue Legacy. Sure, why not?
which unless I'm not mistaken is cross by, and then Kick and Fennec.
Kick and Fennec. I have never heard of that.
Yeah, same here. Moving on, for the PlayStation 3, Thief and Yakuza 4.
Ah, Yakuza. There we go.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be checking that out. Now, moving on to the PlayStation 4, there's this really cool looking game called Apotheon. I probably pronounced that wrong, but it's
Okay.
like it's a 2D action RPG, like a side-scrolling action RPG that's set in Greek times, and it looks like oh my god, this this Greek art that they used to put on like vases
Yeah,
or
the
things.
vases and the jars, like that very like classic Greek art. I know what you're
Yes,
talking
yes,
about.
yes. The entire game looks like that, so it's really
Oh,
cool.
that's sick.
And the last game for PlayStation Plus is Transistor.
Ah, yes, there we go. So now you have no excuses. Get the game and beat it.
Yes, but you know what? I think it's a pretty good month. I don't have a PS4 yet, but I'm just gonna go on PlayStation on the PS Store and download Transistor and Apotheon. I'm definitely gonna give Yakuza 4 a shot. I've always been intrigued by the game because I'm not, it looks kind of like Grand Theft Auto, and then it looks
It,
kind of like an
it's
RPG.
weird because you would actually I think you would kind of like it because apparently it's got like fighting game aspects to it
Yeah,
where
yeah,
your
yeah. I saw
character
that.
like does supers and stuff like that.
Yeah, you can level him up and stuff. So no, I'll definitely check. I mean, it's free, so I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna check it out. I got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
But moving on from that, I think this is a very good position to go into our next point because
Okay.
after reading the PlayStation Plus games, I saw an article on HardcoreGamer.com that was talking about how PlayStation Plus was making buying indie games feel worthless, right? So I
Okay.
really wanted to get your opinion on this because you bought Transistor and it's become free. So his
Yeah.
entire point was pretty much that he bought a bunch of indie games and then the indie games became free. So he's feeling slighted. That was his point.
Okay, I see what he means, but for me, it's like I guess the one example is like, I could I'm I'm
Yeah,
losing my
man.
yeah I am really losing it. Okay, my point is that I bought Transistor at launch, right?
Yeah.
I spent $15 on it, and even though someone else is getting it for free, that doesn't really bother me because Transistor isn't the kind of game that's gonna have a huge marketing for it because it's an indie game and it's the kind of game that I want more people to play. It doesn't
Yeah.
have the marketing of Grand Theft Auto where everyone knows it. People who don't even care about video games knows it.
Yeah.
Like so that doesn't really bother me that much.
And
And
even if it did, sorry for cutting you
no,
off.
no, yeah,
Even if it did, it's a very, I mean, it's a strategy. It's a very niche type of game because the impression, I haven't played it yet, obviously, but the impression I got from the videos I saw was that it's kind of like it's there's some turn-based elements in there, and it has a very unique combat system. But just FYI, the game actually sold 600,000 copies.
really.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty awesome.
that's pretty good.
It deserves
But
that.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Like I read this article and it just sounded like whining to me. He was like that. Oh my, I mean, when I first bought my PlayStation Vita, that was pretty much my thought process every month. I just acknowledged the fact that any game that I bought could potentially become free the
Yeah.
next month. And in some cases, I've actually been pretty damn lucky because no, there hasn't been a single game that I have bought that became free. But there were some games where in the process when I was about to buy them, I completely acknowledged, like Guacamole. I waited
Yeah.
for a couple months. Oh no, Dragon Age, Dragon's Crown
Dragon's
became.
Crown. Yeah.
But I mean, I had played it for like a year at that point, so I didn't care. But yeah, Guacamole, I was about to buy it. I was gonna buy it, and I was like, okay, you know what? I waited for a little while. It didn't become free, so I was like, you know what? I'll buy it, and if it becomes free next month, so be it. The
Yeah.
only way I'll be upset is if I buy this game, play it, and I hate it. In which case,
Yeah.
I'd have been upset anyway. So,
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah, Guacamole, it became free in the UK, never became free in the US. Just, FYI for anyone that wants to give me a correction there. But yeah, Little Big Planet, there was a time when Sony were like that, yeah, Little Big Planet could potentially be becoming free soon. And I was like, you know what? I waited like a couple months, it didn't become free, so I bought it. Still hasn't become free to this day. So if I was waiting, I'd have been waiting like a year and a half for this game to become free.
It's kind of like where there's clearly games that are probably not going to become free anytime soon.
Yes.
Yeah, like I don't think they're going to do Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
They're not going to make that game free.
But this brings me to another point that it's just that, like people complain that Sony doesn't have high quality games on PlayStation Plus, which is bullshit, right? Sure, they don't have the PlayStation 4 games are mostly indie games, but the PS4 has been out for just over a year. I mean, you don't expect expect them to put Killzone. That is probably that is the highest.
Yeah, exactly.
To put that for free. It's like, okay, let's take one of the few games that's making us let's take one of the games that's making us massive revenue and make it free. Like, especially since the maps in that game are free. So if the game itself becomes free. They're not generating any revenue at all. It's only been a year, so like the only thing Sony can make free are the indie games, and then on one hand people are complaining that the games aren't good enough, which is not true, and then Sony releases a very good game like Transistor, and people are complaining that the game is too good. So it's like people just complain all the time, and it's that's just people in general. But yeah, that's
I can understand where they feel like it I guess in some ways it might affect the developers because, potential, people that could have bought it might just, it's free now, so I'm just going to get it for free instead. So in that regard, I could see why that could maybe kind of affect them. But to be honest,
I can't imagine Sony makes the games free without the permission of the developer.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are like legal reasons that's not possible.
No, I mean that. Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying that it's like I feel like even though they're making it free for like a period of time, it's like it's just helping those games kind of gain more attention.
Exactly,
which is always a good thing.
Miami.
Yeah, exactly. Hotline Miami.
If Hotline Miami had not become free, I would have probably never played it. Now Hotline Miami 2 is coming out, and I'm gonna buy it day one. Day one, I am buying Hotline Miami 2. So there you go.
Yeah, and my example that I got, kind of similar situation, but it was on one of the Steam sales. Bastion was like $2, I think, around $2, and I never would have bought that game if it wasn't so cheap. Finally bought it. Amazing game. Got me hooked on Supergiant Games, and that led me to play Transistors. So there you go.
There you go, man. Like, I don't see anything wrong. I don't see anything wrong with Sony's current practices with PlayStation Plus.
Well, yeah. As far as with PlayStation Plus, I think it's a pretty good deal, and hopefully we'll get even some more free games. Hell, maybe even Last Guardian will be free. Who knows? What can dream?
It's gonna have to come out before it becomes free.
I want it to come out, and then sorry it took 5-7 years to come out, so we're gonna release it for free.
It's actually closer to about 9 years.
Oh, God.
The Last Guardian was announced in 2005, so we're looking at, I think it was announced in 05 or 06, so we're looking at 9 to 10 years right now.
Oh, that's depressing. That makes me depressed. Anyway, moving on from that high note. So we have the PlayStation event. It's happening on February 13th. And so select players and a couple exclusive people are being invited, and they're gonna show off a couple different things. So what do you think they're gonna show off? What do you think are the big things?
Nothing important.
Probably.
February 13th. When does the order launch? February 20th, I believe.
Probably.
So this is a week before the order launches. There's probably going to be hands-on of that. It's going to be hands-on for Bloodborne. I don't
Yeah.
think I just like I saw this and I was just like I can't imagine. I mean, they had their PlayStation event in December, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, right?
Oh,
Yeah, this is
you
like
know what? You know what would be the biggest troll thing?
what?
If they showed people exclusive footage of The Last Guardian and told
Oh,
them
for
that they weren't,
God's
they,
sake,
they
man.
told them that they weren't gonna show it, that they weren't allowed to show it to anyone else.
For God's sake, Tanner, it's been 10 years.
I still dream that it will come out.
Oh my God. But yeah, like I can't because I mean the PlayStation anniversary event was 2 months ago, so I can't imagine there's anything important that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be shown here.
Uh,
There might be there's some rumors. Well, some people speculated that because February 13th is the day that the new 3DS is getting released.
yes, yeah.
So maybe there's gonna be some Vita news. But I'm like, I call bullshit on that. Sony has given up on the Vita, and I just like
Well,
it's,
I feel like they rightfully so should be putting more
yeah.
resources into trying to get the PlayStation 4 a little bit more, games, a little bit more, better features, instead of trying to salvage the Vita. Like, as much as I actually do like the Vita in some ways, it's still kind of a lost cause at this point, in a lot
Yeah.
of ways. But yeah, they might actually show some stuff for their VR thing, Project Morpheus or something like that. I don't know.
Yes. But you see, I sat down one afternoon and I tried to give a damn about Project Morpheus, and I failed. So,
You wouldn't be the first. You wouldn't be the first.
so I just don't care. I mean, it could be something big, but like I
Mm-hmm.
said the last time we spoke about this, I've had it with peripherals. At this
Mm-hmm.
point, they're guilty until proven innocent. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to assume they're all shit until they prove me otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously we'll keep our eyes on it,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about whatever comes out. But I'm not holding my breath. I'm
Yeah.
probably not even gonna watch it live
Because I don't think they're gonna announce anything mind-blowingly big because everyone knows they want to save that stuff for E3.
exactly.
Yeah. So they don't want to blow their load too early. So the last thing on the list is Bloodborne. Big. They actually got a fairly big reveal. They showed off the first 18 minutes of the game. So everyone kind of got a nice big look at it. So I actually watched the full 18 minutes. So I'll try and tell you sort of like the kind of highlights and stuff like that.
Okay.
That were kind of interesting. The first things first, kind of reminiscent of Demon Souls, is that you're kind of thrown into the game. You have no weapons, and then you're presented a monster that you think you can beat, and he just kicks your ass like immediately, like just full on. You're just trampled, and when you die, you get teleported to this sort of like dream zone, and that's kind of like your main hub where you buy your items, you upgrade your equipment and stuff like that. So
Okay.
it's actually a lot more Demon Souls esque than Dark Souls, because Dark Souls was a lot different. Dark Souls didn't it had a main hub area, but you didn't have to die to get to it.
Okay.
And same thing with Dark Souls 2. You spend the beginning of the game just just traveling through this sort of like big canyon-esque area, and then you get to the main like safety zone, and that's your hub area. You don't actually have to die to
Okay.
get there. So it's kind of interesting that they're taking that older approach to how they start the game. The one thing that there's a couple things that are also kind of interesting and kind of awesome is the game overall looks so much faster, like just way faster than Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2,
Right.
because and as the director has said before, he said that he wanted the game to be less defensive, because as for those who have played Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2, a lot of the game is kind of you hold up your shield and you wait until the opportune moment to attack. And it's kind of like waiting for that perfect moment to go in and strike. So it's a lot of kind of waiting and then attacking, waiting and attacking. Whereas this one, it seems way more, you're going to get rushed. And since there actually seems to be a very lack of shields, like I don't think there's actually shields in this game.
I haven't seen any yet. The characters wield guns in the hand that Dark Souls characters would have held shields. So I think that in itself just tells you the kind of game you're dealing with.
Yeah, and
it's a shield. I'm going to hold this shotgun here.
Yeah, and but there's the interesting aspect with because when you in the beginning, what they showcased that you get to choose between getting a free shotgun or a free pistol. And it seems like how the mechanic works is that the pistol does actually more damage, but it's only like what you. It's more of a precise weapon that does more damage. Okay. So there's that. But the shotgun does less damage, but if you hit something close, they'll stagger. So it gives you an opportunity to actually deal damage with your melee weapon.
Okay.
So it seems like it's sort of like it's kind of pick your poison. Would you rather just be able to deal massive damage with your gun, or would you rather have a gun that can set up a melee combo or something like that?
Okay.
So
and another thing I noticed to back up the whole a much faster pace than Dark Souls is that there's a feature in the game where if you get hit, you don't lose the health. Mm-hmm. There's a few seconds where if you hit the opponent, you gain a percentage of that health back.
Yeah. So
it's just all these features are out there to just encourage players to play more aggressively.
Yeah. And the other thing is like especially this is very different from the Dark Souls games is when you heal in Dark Souls, your guy takes a big long chug of this Estus flask, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you heal. In this, your guy very quickly just stabs himself in the leg with like an injection, and then your health goes immediately up. Like it's such a big departure because one of the biggest things in Dark Souls 2 is that it was always a worry that when you go and heal, you're always worried that okay, I'm open now. If they attack me while I'm drinking, I'm gonna take damage, and then the heal is kind of useless. And that's essentially, it seems like that's not the case anymore. The case is more you heal up just so you can get a little bit extra health, and then you just keep on attacking. You just keep on charging in. Okay. So I'm like, from what they showed, it was kind of interesting. I will have to say the guy who was demoing it, there was a couple of annoying moments where he was talking to an NPC, and then he just left mid sentence. Like, and I was just like, like the OCD just went, oh, why would you do this? It's like, but I don't know if it was a thing where it's like limited on time or something like that. But yeah, as far as I can tell, it just seems like a really solid game, and I can't wait for when this game comes out. And I think this will be much better than Dark Souls 2. As much as I like Dark Souls 2, I think this is going to be even better, and it's going to kick a lot of ass. So
I know the game is going to upset a lot of the Dark Souls fans. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the game is similar enough to attract them, but it's different enough to piss them off.
Yeah.
Because like just all the stuff that you've listed just sounds like the kind of stuff that would just piss off hardcore Dark Souls fans. So I'm gonna enjoy watching that.
Yeah. You know? But yeah, I can't wait. So get excited for Bloodborne. Can't wait. So anyway, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. So if you have a question, just leave it in the comment section, and we'll answer it on the next podcast. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, this was Tanner Liberty and
was Muhammad Yusuf.
And we'll see you guys next time. Take care.